it certainly has been a long time coming now, hasn't it? So, a couple things before we begin. A lot of you might be asking about the Onision controversy. So, what happened was that Onision was apparently being inappropriate with minors. And for those of you who are asking about it, yes, I am aware of the Onision controversy, and I feel like that controversy alone is one of the main reasons why Nicholas E. Miranda's video on me has seriously not aged well as some other reasons which we'll get into in the commentary. And I decided to push through with the commentary despite the controversy itself because I really wanted to improve, and I really wanted to show people that I have matured and I have moved on from my mistakes, well, some of the time. And admittedly, I still do have a lot to learn as a commentator, so we'll just see how the commentary does and we'll see what goes on with that. And I would also like to say that this video is not intended for younger audiences, as it does have a lot of swearing, and we will be getting into dark subject matter once we get into the argument about the jokes, as it is illegal for websites like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook to data mine users under the age of 13 under the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. And finally, this will be a skip card test. Yes, I have made multiple skip cards for this commentary, just to test them out. And so you guys can tell me which skip cards you liked, which ones you disliked, and I'll keep the ones you liked, and I'll just not use the ones you didn't like. So, with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed the video, and in the words of Rosanna Pansino from Nerdy Nummies, let's get started! Before the video begins, I want to put out a little disclaimer. Please do not send any hate towards any individuals targeted in this series. This is simply made to criticize the video in question, provide entertainment, and hopefully inspire others to make better commentary videos. Any links in the description are there to cite the sources used only. To whom this video may concern, and those in the comment section. Please do not fight over this or any other subjects that will be discussed further down the line, and most importantly, be kind to each other. Thank you. I had been very interested in the commentary community for as long as I can remember, but I also couldn't help but notice that it can be very flawed at times. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of good people in the CC like Micromavi, Ponder Sprocket, Master TP10, etc. With those people making good content and being awesome humans, you also have some bad apples here and there. The point is, for every up that the CC had, it also had a down or two. Some slopes are steeper than others, but you know what? We're all human beings, and we all make mistakes. Sometimes the mistakes made need to be corrected in order to prevent them from happening again in the future. That's what I'm gonna do today. This is Commentary Fails. Okay, let's see what's on the chopping block. Oh, leftovers from 2018. Interesting. Let's start from the beginning. 2 years ago, I made a commentary on a video by Onision regarding the subject of humor, specifically how people like the comedy in South Park and Family Guy, but not the comedy in his videos. Needless to say, both the original and the re-edited version of the commentary were not well received. Well, the re-edited version had worse reception anyway. The result was that there were commentaries made on that same video. 3 of them by Gumdrop Animator, who was also new to the community at the time, Keyblade Master, a rather seasoned member of the CC, and our target Nicholas E. Miranda, a commentator who started out in March 2018 with currently more than 200 commentaries under his belt. From what I know, he has gained a pretty bad reputation when it comes to his commentaries, as I will discuss later on. Now, I understand that Nicholas has been kind of a hot topic in the CC for a while. Plus, it may be confusing to see Mabel twice in his videos, so for the sake of not causing confusion, I'm going to use Pacifica Northwest as my avatar for this video. Remember, Onision is degree 0, past me is Mabel Pines is degree 1, Nicholas is degree 2, and I am here in degree 3. Now, without further ado, let's investigate this video, shall we?
Guys, I'm back with your commentary. This time, it's gonna be on a YouTuber called Vēde the Commentator 2001.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way so I won't have to say it over and over again. No offense, but the lighting in the video is very inconsistent. I can hardly see the dinosaur toy you're using to represent yourself and everything else surrounding it, as your room has very little light. Not only that, but when you moved your phone to the TV, it looked like it was about to drop for a second, and as soon as it pointed towards the television, it started to be very fucking blinding. Plus, you keep putting your finger over your camera just to move your phone away from the screen. Recording commentaries with your cell phone is generally frowned upon, mainly because of the quality of the camera, depending on what type of phone you have. That, and it makes your overall commentary feel like a rushed school project made for the sake of your own convenience. I'll explain that in my final thoughts. For now, I'm going to try to make it bearable for everyone's eyes and ears by adding in the original video. You're welcome! Before we go any further with the video, I would like to issue an apology to Doodle Tones, Mr. Sir Raven, and Thomas Memory Central. I thought it would be cool to emulate these users not just for the disclaimer, but for the entire commentary I made on Onision. But then, I realized that maybe this was not the best choice for me to make, and on top of that, it was blatant plagiarism. For that, I say, lo siento. I promise that I'll be more original this time around. You don't have to forgive me, but I wanted to take some time to say that I acknowledge my mistakes, and I will not make the same ones in the future.
Aw, you sneeze like a kitten.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Raven the Commentator 2001 here with a commentary for all the cool cats out there. Alright, I know Mr. Sir Raven and Thomas Memory Central already did a commentary on this.
Actually, people are not gonna complain about the fact you're commenting on the field that's what you commentate on. They're gonna complain about it being on old news and an old video. Sure, it is pointless commenting on old videos especially if other people did it years ago, but I think that's what made people's problem with it. Not the fact you're commenting on the same video someone else did.
What the hell is Captain Obvious doing outside of the Hotels.com commercials? He should be helping people find the best hotels for a fair price. But all commercial references aside, you say that I covered an old video that someone else did before and don't expand on your point until later on. That is a big no-no, and here's why. Obvious statements do not equal arguments. If you don't make sound arguments or expand on what you say, your audience would be confused and left in the dark, and so will your targets. That, and it doesn't help them improve in any way, thus making it harder for any sort of constructive criticism, or lack thereof, to be effective. Also, keep in mind what he says about Onision being criticized to death because it will be important later. According to Onision, if you uphold religious beliefs, you're insane and just cram it down into other people's brains, and if you eat meat, you're a cannibal. That's what he said in 2 videos. In today's target, he says that it's hypocritical to like South Park and Family Guy's brand of humor.
Wait a second, I know you gave an introduction about or say what the film was about, but didn't you say in the beginning that 2 people already commented on it, meaning that those people would know what the video was already?
Shout out to Swords Zenny for pointing this out because I didn't notice this earlier. Nicholas, just because he's been talked about before doesn't necessarily mean that everyone watching a video on Onision would know who he is or what he has said and done in the past. In Zenny's case, he never heard about Onision before watching Keyblade Master's commentary on me. In my case, I almost had no idea who Onision was, before watching Mr. Saraven and Thomas Memory Central's commentaries on him. And I wouldn't be so passionate about Gravity Falls if it wasn't for the good people in the fandom talking about it, like the folks in the Gravity Falls to Rick and Morty Discord server I'm in, despite the controversies within said fandom. Lebowitz is the character. Excuse me. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, and about what you said about Onision already being covered by two people and your earlier point about Onision being talked about and criticized to hell and back, well, the same thing can apply to you because you're commentating on the same video that, as I've stated in the beginning, Gumdrop Animator and Keyblade Master did, and it has already been covered. Thus, it should not be brought up for extensive discussion, and yet here we are. In fact, as of scripting this, I have officially disowned the original video because of how terrible it was and other reasons that will be discussed as the investigation continues. The re-edited version of the original video is also disowned for those same reasons. I'm still looking for season recommendations for South Park because maturity and curiosity have led me to let go of the toxic hate that I used to have for it. I used to like Family Guy when I was younger, but I just find it to be immature for my taste nowadays. Hey, Nicholas, would you mind explaining to me why you decided to play that part out? This is something that you could have skipped if you didn't want to argue that bit. Yes, context is important, but if you didn't want to argue anything that you didn't think is significant, maybe skip to the next point. Seeing as how your current content follows the same problematic formula, I'm not really surprised by that fact at all. A deadline may not be necessary in circumstances like this, but still.
You have a lobster on your butt.
Huh?
Family Guy and South Park have a numerous amount of offensive jokes, considered to be offensive. But many of my viewers still support them despite these offensive jokes. Many of my viewers even laugh at these offensive jokes. Clap like idiot monkeys.
You know what? I'm just gonna let that sink in. Later on in the video, he states people's hypocrisy when it comes to their perspective on how dark humor...
Spoiler alert, what happens later in the video.
Okay, I know this is nitpicky, but I have to get this out there. When making a commentary on a video, it is never a good idea to point out spoilers in the middle of your target's point, as it does disrupt the flow of the video. Like, how dark humor what? How it sounds, how it feels, how it tastes, how it smells, how it looks? This whole spoiler thing feels very pointless because it adds nothing of value to the conversation. Here's an idea. Have a point. It makes it so much easier for your audience. Executed, especially on Onision's videos, and in this instance, he calls people who like South Park and Family Guy, but not his videos, idiot monkeys. Really think about that, even towards the end of the video, because that is going to slap him in the face, let alone knock his teeth out later. Holy shit was I spiteful in that video. Throughout the entirety of the original video, I basically treated Onision like he killed Kenny right in front of me, and the salt in that video was enough to make me have a heart attack. I let my anger get the best of me, and that wasn't smart of me to do because nobody wants to watch commentary videos where commentators mercilessly bully their targets the whole way through. It all ends up leaving a bad taste in everyone's mouths at the end of the day.
As the show plays on. And then they have, for some reason, the motivation to come to my channel and see me tell pretty much the same joke, just in a different way. And they say I'm a horrible human being.
Oh no! People have terrible opinions about Onision! Somebody call the Teen Titans! Call the police!
I think what he's trying to say is that he's calling people hypocrites for finding the jokes funny, yet not his humor. Unless that's what you knew about the joke, but all you did is just make a joke there that didn't really debunk it.
You're right. I wasn't debunking anything. And I was making a dumb joke. But like I said before, you're making blatantly obvious observations. Yes, Onision argued that people are hypocrites for liking South Park and Family Guy's brand of humor, but not his brand of humor. But everyone and their grandmother who has seen the two other commentaries made on me will know what Onision changed was what made his jokes different from Family Guy and South Park's. As in, they sucked.
I tell a joke about butt raping a guy. I'm awful. Family Guy tells a joke about raping a woman. They're amazing.
It depends on the punchline of the joke and what it means. If any character in a comedy show just rapes somebody for the sake of it, like you did, then no, it's not funny. It's sick.
Even if there was a reason or punchline as to why in the show, that wouldn't change the fact that the show was offensive and they regained the free pass while criticizing Onision for it. Just saying.
I will admit that I did not really understand what Onision was arguing at the time I made that commentary on him, but you chose to point out how offensive South Park and Family Guy's jokes were, and not how funny they were, like what Onision was talking about. In hindsight, you could elaborate more on how both jokes were offensive and why Onision's jokes fell in comparison, but nothing stood out from this in reality. Oh, and another thing. Anyone can be the most likable clown on television and entertain folks of all ages, but not everyone can make dark jokes work well in terms of execution. South Park's rape joke worked because it tells us what was going on in American politics by using Paul Ryan, Mike Pence, and Mitch McConnell's abusive relationship with President Garrison, with him as the violator, as a comedic and visual metaphor. Speaker Ryan's interview on the news emphasizes that contributing factor. Keep in mind that this takes place a year after President Garrison was elected.
Speaker Ryan, it's the anniversary of the president being elected. How do you think he's doing?
Well, what do you mean? He's great. We're doing great. A lot of people judge him and just see the negative. People don't know how great the president can be behind closed doors. They don't get to see all his good qualities.
Uh-huh. And is that semen on your black eye?
Oh, no, I tripped on a doorknob. That's doorknob cum.
On the contrary, per the video he referenced, My Awful Secret, it had Onision just be a douche to his buddy Damon about butt-fucking him in his sleep, making it all one uncomfortable joke, and in the end, it is revealed that he raped the guy, making the joke even worse.
So you didn't rape me?
Damon, I didn't. I was kidding. It's okay. I won't do that to you.
Then why does my asshole hurt?
Oh, that. That's because I actually did rape you.
What?
Of course, I should not forget the Family Guy episode, Partial Terms of Endearment, which was banned from airing on television in the US because of the concerns the Fox Broadcasting Company had over how it portrayed abortion. In that episode, Lois's old college friend Naomi and her husband Dale Robinson come over to the Griffin family home because of a proposal for Lois to carry their child due to them having trouble conceiving. With Dale and Naomi dying in a tragic accident, Lois has a tough choice to make. She can either A, continue to carry their child, or B, have an abortion. During the scene where Lois contemplates about having an abortion, Peter watches a video presentation called Abortion Madness, a parody of the 1936 propaganda film Reefer Madness, shown by the leader of the pro-life protest outside the clinic. One part in particular introduces a character named Ziggy the Zygote, only for him to be shown for a brief time.
Hi, I'm Ziggy the Zygote. I'm looking forward to being an active member of your community. Can I hug you?
Of course you can, Ziggy. Because even though they're not visible yet, you already have tiny arms. Arms that will one day work, play, and fold in prayer.
Yay!
But, uh-oh, what's this?
This makes sense because this and the entirety of the skit satirizes the pro-life side of the debate. That, and it doesn't feel like it was told for the sake of being offensive, unlike Onision's My Butt Baby video, where it basically consists of a presumably pregnant woman being hit with a football and baseball bat and shot in the stomach to cause an abortion. Of course, the twist here goes along the lines of this.
Where? Yeah, you killed it. Where's the baby?
It was just my poop. I haven't pooped for a month.
Yay.
This doesn't work because it feels so random and out of place. Not to mention that nowhere in that Family Guy episode that I mentioned was there anyone shooting a pregnant woman in the stomach. The whole video feels like it's trying way too hard to push the envelope, and nobody wants that. The point is, some jokes work better than others. Don't just point out if something is offensive next time.
You're telling me that if I open this door right now...
Fine, open it.
How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion!
I tell a joke about hitting a woman who's constipated in the belly with a baseball bat, at the time assumed to be a baby, but in fact, no, just constipation. And I'm an awful human being.
Well, good thing I didn't watch that video, because that does not sound funny at all. That—
What? Wait. This joke, I don't even know what to say. I'm serious. My speechless side cannot even say anything.
Then why did you bother commenting on it in the first place? I'm sorry, but I'm about this close to fucking snapping.
Applaud sarcastically. No, that sounds too sincere. Slow clap. There we go. Nice and condescending.
Parks and Recreation and Modern Family aired on television in the first place.
Last time I checked, he was talking about cartoon shows that had offensive jokes. Not, live action ones.
Because people can't get a joke unless it's in a cartoon, because their brains are too slow to register the fact that it is a joke, due to the lack in animation.
Then why do you think that live-action comedies like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Recreation, and Modern Family aired on television in the first place? The adult comedy in any live-action show and any sitcom can be fair game, since Onision never specifically targeted just adult animated comedies. Other shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Wilfred, and Curb Your Enthusiasm have similar jokes that can be compared to Onision's jokes. One of the examples from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is what Frank Reynolds thinks about nursing homes.
What are you doing, Frank? What's going on here?
Trying to score brownie points with your sister. I mean, I need somebody to take care of me when I'm old and sick.
Oh, Jesus, you're still worried about that? Why don't you just check yourself into a nursing home, Frank? You have the money.
I'm not gonna put myself into one of those crypts. As soon as you drop the soap, they rape your butt. That's what happens. Matt told me.
What in God's name? You people have a very strange conception of what goes on in nursing homes.
Frank, green juice, now!
The bitch is driving me crazy. She's not even sick anymore.
What's interesting about this is the fact that what Frank said refers to the notion of not just prison rape, but sexual assault in nursing homes. According to a study from the gerontologist, nurse aid reports indicated that sexual assault is the least observed, suspected, and reported form of assault compared to other forms of assault that were studied. There is a page on the Nursing Home Abuse Center website that goes into detail on sexual assault in nursing homes. There is a link to that in the description if you want to know more about it. But back on topic, like Family Guy, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia had an episode about abortion called Charlie Wants an Abortion. Again, the episode deals with both sides of the debate. The episode centers around Dennis and Mac going to an abortion rally to pick up girls who were either pro-choice or pro-life outside of a Planned Parenthood clinic. Meanwhile, Charlie has the overbearing responsibility of a child that is believed to be his son with the waitress. I won't get into too much detail for spoiler reasons for anyone who has not seen the episode, but let's just say that the episode handled the subject of abortion very well, especially this scene.
What you were saying the other day about the t-shirts with the stupid slogans on them, and I was wondering what you think about this. Huh, bitch? Yeah, that's stupid enough for you? You're not seriously wearing that. You look ridiculous. Whatever, dude. That's the problem with you anti-abortionists. You cry about the sanctity of life, and then you wear a shirt like that. I'm not listening to you. Don't you right when you're all about the death penalty, too? Does that not involve killing somebody? Right. And you liberals are against killing murderers, but you're for killing innocent babies. Yeah, we like to kill babies. Because you take us way too seriously. You don't understand what we've been having. I met a girl at one of these organizations who is a freak. I mean, she's like the dirtiest chick I've ever met in my life. Seriously? Yeah. You gotta come with me to one of these rounds. They're having another one on Saturday. These chicks are everywhere. I can jump on board with that. Are you actually gonna throw away all your convictions for a chance to get laid? I don't really have any convictions.
So, TLDL, adult comedy and live-action shows can easily be comparable with the comedy on Onision's videos depending on the execution and not just the subject matter. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you never cut out important context to your arguments.
There once was a dude from Kentucky.
You also stereotype your critics as these unintelligent, ignorant people who throw around ad hominem statements like candy. That's pure ignorance from you right there.
Since the video is literally made back in 2011, I'm pretty sure he either word for that or changed his opinion. And even if he didn't, again, it's Onision we're talking about. People had spoke about him to death, and he is not even relevant anymore, or being spoke about, at least.
I'll give you this. At least you expanded on your previous statement with one valid reason. I understand that Onision has not been talked about a lot when I made that video, but dude, you gotta have other reasons besides that. I mean, it's not like you missed anything major from my commentary. Oh, wait. You're just not taking responsibility for your actions and proceeding to blame other people and other things. You need to understand that other people's opinions are not the same as yours. You did not just ignore my point of hypocrisy when I put my bias against rape jokes. And an earlier point of hypocrisy when I said that offensive jokes depend on the execution, and then treated the episode of Family Guy about abortion like it was dead, and it would never even work. I can't fucking believe it. This is the part where I snapped. Commercial break. Having a joke in a cartoon or live action show makes no difference at all. It doesn't. You're just not taking responsibility for your actions and proceeding to blame other people and other things. You need to understand that other people's opinions are not the same as yours.
You know, like what I refuse to do when I said that Onision should stop making rape jokes because I personally don't think rape jokes are funny?
Alright, you were on a decent start when bringing up partial terms of endearment, considering how that episode got banned, which shows that Family Guy doesn't get off scot-free either when it comes to being too offensive. But then, instead of going further with your point, you decide to focus on how no company would ever make a joke like Onision's, which is stupid, as you act as if the joke would have been dead from the start, when no, that's not the case. Since it all matters in the execution, like you yourself even brought up elements in comedy.
It depends on the punchline of the joke and what it means.
So who are you to say when a joke works or not, just on the sole basis of it being offensive?
My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I guess my anger went on autopilot for a while. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, the commentary. I'm gonna be skipping his final thoughts because all it is just him saying a bunch of obvious things and not really giving solid constructive criticism, as it has annoyed me long enough. And after all is said and done, the investigation is ready for the journal. One of my biggest regrets in life, and this all comes from personal experience, is not being in the shoes of my target and seeing how I would feel if another commentator was being spiteful towards me. Now I know how Onision would have felt if he saw my commentary on him. I am sorry to say this, Nicholas, but your video on me was absolute crap. You missed a lot of major points, including the fact that I plagiarized Mr. Sharaven a lot in my original video, plus the videography of the whole thing was complete utter garbage. Your points fell flat and felt very lackluster. Overall, this video felt incredibly rushed, thus making your video a convenience commentary. Basically, a commentary video made for the sake of the commentator's convenience rather than the entertainment value and video quality. There was no amount of quality in the video. No script, no editing, no entertainment, nothing, zilch, nada. You want to know something else about this video that really bothers me too? As much as I've seen people complain about your videos in the past, I don't think I've seen this specific point be relayed. And it's a waste of a learning opportunity, not just for you as a commentator, but also for your audience and targets. It was hard for me to get anything meaningful out of this commentary due to the complaints that I have made earlier. My advice? Write a script for your videos and make sure other people look over it before you start the recording process. If you want to go off the cuff, bullet points would be very helpful. Use the video downloader and any editing software at your disposal to help amp up your production quality. Don't just state the obvious throughout your video, as it gets tiring after a while. And finally, give your targets sound arguments and solid constructive criticism, i.e. how to improve on production quality, making valid points, etc. If you follow these pieces of advice for your future videos, they would end up being much better than what you currently have in the long run. Well, that's all I have to say about this. Until next time, this is Raven Pine saying take care and be kind to one another. Adios!
If I could begin to be half of what you think of me, I could do about anything. I could even learn how to love. When I see the way you act, wondering when I'm coming back, I could do